and he doesn't know. So when he comes home. Excuse me, Vito is murdered. He does know, but his friend Kitty is murdered. So Kitty runs his hair salon that he owns in the film. So he knows that Vito is dead. I mixed it up. So he's sad about that. But when he comes home, he doesn't know that Kitty is dead. And they tell him in his shop when he comes home. And she says to him, like, because my character says, hey, yeah, I know Vito family really gonna love that because they took up a collection offering. And then the girl looks at me and she says, Vito, no, Kitty. And I go, you can see the confusion. I'm like, Kitty dead? Kitty gone? And they like, yeah, we thought you knew. And I'm like, no, I ain't know. So I kind of lose it and I'm cussing and I storm out. But in that scene, and they didn't catch it, I broke down and started crying in that scene. They just didn't catch it on camera. But if you go back and watch that scene, you could kind of hear the tremble in my voice. Like you can hear that I'm crying, but the angle that I was, and then I turned my back to the camera and stormed out, they don't really catch it. But that scene took a lot for me too. It took about maybe 3 days for me to bounce back from that because that was my first time on camera at that time. And we shot Deceitful Passions. I think that was 2017, and I was still a little bit newer to the game. That scene took a lot for me too. So those two scenes were kind of mentally exhausting to
Well,
do.
thank you, Mr. Alfonso. I have one last question for you. Then I'm
Go
gonna
ahead.
send it over to the stage to see if anyone else is ready to ask you some more questions. So,
Hmm.
let's talk about navigation and streaming platforms, right? So you worked on a project that gained traction in both independent festivals and digital streaming platforms like Tubi, right? So
Hmm.
what differences do you notice in how audiences respond to your performances on these platforms compared to more traditional theatric releases? And how has this influenced, I guess, like how you take to your roles or what roles you prefer to do? Or is there any type of difference or not? Thank you.
Give me the first half of that question
I
one
talked too
more
fast.
time.
I'll calm down. Sorry. I apologize. Hold on. What the- Okay. You've worked on projects that have gained traction in both independent film festivals,
Hmm.
and digital streaming platforms. So, what
Yes.
differences do you notice in how the audience respond to you, between between theatrical roles or the digital roles, like more what's the
Okay.
difference, like that's what I was asking. I'm sorry.
Okay. No, I got you. I got you. So film festivals are cool. But that's kind of a different. See, film festivals are more so if they are looking for distribution for films, or maybe they are looking to push their film to a different platform other than Tubi. So they go the film festival route. Um, so people like that, but a lot of people don't really see that because if you're at a festival, the only people that are going to see that project is the people that attended it. When a film hits a platform like a Tubi or Amazon Prime or Peacock, it's seen on a national level and more people see it. So there's going to be a bigger response and a bigger reaction. Like right now, Peacock is a hot platform, but Peacock costs, whereas Tubi doesn't cost. So free works for everybody. So they are going to be more in tune or inclined to watch a film for free than they will for a film that is on a platform that they must pay for, if that makes sense. So the reactions are heavily garnered towards the digital platforms because that's what everybody sees. They don't really see it when it's in the film festival, and they don't really see it on platforms that cost, if that makes sense.
Oh, of course. I definitely appreciate that question. I had one more, but I don't want to be greedy. So I definitely will be back in a few moments when other people get to ask you some questions. So thank you so much. I appreciate you.
No problem. You're welcome.
So I had one quick question. I always like to ask this particular question when it
Hmm.
comes to interviews like this is what is your like do spirituality play a big part in your life? And also what does that look like for your mental health? Like what how do you combat things like that? Because you did mention that that was that situation where you cried, whatever, and it kind of just clicked like okay, let me just open it up and see where you are with that. What would you like people to know about you and your spirituality and mental health?
Spiritually, I'm in tune with myself. Um, I know that when I'm doing certain roles that is going to be perceived a certain way. I just kind of don't care because you got to have thick skin. At the end of the day, it's just acting. There are certain things that I will not do, um, as an actor, but a lot of things that I do, or you have seen me in, are triggering. Um, and I like that because if it's triggering and it's making you feel a certain kind of way, then what I feel I'm doing as an actor is bringing a real life scenario to you. So it's like I just use he played me again. I was an abusive guy emotionally and physically and verbally. So that's a real thing. People get mentally and physically and verbally abused all the time. So for me to shine light on that in the character that I portrayed, I had a lot of women tell me that they like guys like that, or they have dated guys like that, or seeing that film hate help them get away from guys like that. So I look at it for the positive things. But I knew, once I read the book and got familiar with the script, I knew that that film was going to have me viewed in a certain light. And I just didn't care. That's what I wanted. I wanted you to feel away. If you didn't, then I failed as an actor. So spiritually, when it comes to things like that, that's what I think about. And there are certain things that I will not do as an actor. But, if I can bring a character however I can bring it to make you feel it, that's what I care about. Hmm.
That's
Oh
what's
wow.
up.
Oh yeah, I got a
Yeah,
question.
because I was just wondering about that because it's a lot going on with this the acting and stuff like that that can really impact your mental health if you're not really self aware of yourself. So that's a
This is
question
very
that I
true.
yeah,
This
that's a
is
question I
very,
always
very
like to
true.
ask to kind of see where the actors or the actresses is at with that. So thank you, I appreciate that.
No, you're welcome. You definitely gotta have. You heard this before. You gotta have super thick skin. This industry is cutthroat, and they can cut you from a lot of different ways. So you just gotta really be on your stuff and be strong willed and just have thick skin. But yeah, you're absolutely right.
I got a well, I got three questions, but I'll ask them in tandem here. So, first question: how did you get through the strike, and how did that affect the way that you audition, the way that you act afterward? Were you represented at the time, and did you do any kind of independent films during the strike?
Yeah, I did. And that was really what kept me going because I'm not SAG, not yet. I'm going to be, but I'm not SAG, and because I'm not SAG, I'm not in the union, so I was able to still work and do indie film. Had I been a SAG actor, then I would not have been able to work, and then we would probably be having a different conversation. But I was able to work through the strike, and just keep doing the indie stuff, and it was all good. I mean, it was a struggle because even though I wasn't directly affected by it, I kind of was because really, literally, right before they striked, I was about to get my SAG card. So when they didn't, I was just kind of like, ooh, And then a lot of my friends that are SAG were telling me like, bro, you might want to hold off because we can't do X, Y, and Z. You can't even do. I think they couldn't even do interviews talking about their projects. If they did interviews, they couldn't mention the project that they were a part of. That's how
Like
tight
with
it was.
micro, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So did the strike affect me? Not really, a little bit, but I didn't feel it the way that my SAG actors felt it. I'll just say that.
Second follow up question to
But
that
it
one
was,
is: are you
yeah. Go
finding
ahead.
a lot of work in Detroit and in the area, or have you had to go out to like Atlanta and everywhere else
Oh
to find
yeah,
it? So
I
doing
didn't been
this,
everywhere. I've been in Atlanta a lot this year. I was in Vegas this year. I was in Alabama, New York. I've been all over the map this year, so it's been blessed. I've been blessed. I've been in and out of town a lot this year and last year.
cool. And third question. So if you
Mhm.
check out, I think there's one other Hillary Merrick, but I'm the only one that works at Tubi. If you check out my LinkedIn right now, I just posted a couple of auditions that we got coming up. Are you represented? And how can we get a demo from you, a demo reel from you? Do you have it posted? Or bigger question, are you on
Do
backstage? Let's make it easy.
I am on Actors Access. I am not on Backstage. I am on Actors Access. Do have AA. But yeah, we can make that happen. Just send me a message, and we can talk about that.
That's what's up. We're casting right now for a King B production called Mental, and it's going to be filmed in several different big cities, so it might be able to actually come to you. But I've got listings every day up on my Twitter or X, whatever you call it. So because I work with part of the casting and with Tubi, so yeah, I'd love to hook you up.
Okay, yeah, definitely. Let's try to make that work before we get off of here.
Now that's what I'm talking about.
All right, I got a question from Alfonso. Is
Mhm.
what's your favorite film or movie out of all the films you did? And the other question was, can you share a funny behind the scenes from one of the movies that you liked?
Um, yeah, I can. So, favorite movie he played me was my favorite. I also enjoyed Chasing the Ghost was good. Um, man, I've been blessed to do so many. I'm drawing a blank. I feel like it's one more, but he played me in Chasing the Ghost. I enjoyed doing both of those. Um, funny, funny behind the scene. It's been a couple of them, but I'll give you a behind the scenes that really kind of wasn't funny. Um, so I don't know if you guys saw Nasty. So I played this character in Nasty called Uncle Rob. It's on Tubi as well.
Oh yeah, I
And
did see that. I did see that. Yup.
right. So you remember I was Uncle Rob
Right.
and Nasty. So there's a scene in that where they got me tied up in the basement and they're pistol whipping me, which eventually they kill me. But in this scene, they're pistol whipping me. And I went out like a G. But in real life, and mind you, we didn't rehearse this movie, we didn't rehearse this scene, we didn't went through it, we didn't went through it. And give me one second. Okay, sorry about that. So we had a we rehearsed this scene multiple times. And in the movie, they got me tied up. He's pistol whipping me. And he accidentally hit me for real across my temple. And let me just say
Oh
this.
wow.
In the movie, like I gotta say shout out to Candace. That's my home girl. She's the makeup artist. I always be like shout out to the MUA, to the makeup artist because she's really dope at what she does with the graphics and the effects. But she made me look real. Put the cut on my cheek, and I was bleeding and bruised and battered. Like I look really pistol whipped. Like she did a good job. So the prosthetic that's on my cheek where he hits me, well, excuse me, not my cheek, but my temple. It was on my left temple. He hits me in the prosthetic hard. I'm talking about all I saw was a flash of light, and I wasn't really tied up. So when he did it, I obviously I pulled my hands from behind me and I grabbed my head. As soon as he did it, he realized it. He was like, "Oh shit, I'm sorry, Fonz, my bad." And I was just dazed and stunned. I'm talking about I saw stars, Tweety birds around my head,
Man,
and
how funny.
it was bad. So he felt bad. He started crying. The guy who did it, he cried in real life. They ended up calling the producer who was offset at the time. He came back, and it was just this big thing. And at the end of the day, I was okay. I had a concussion, but I had to go to the hospital. So I immediately left set, and they ended up getting a different scene while I was gone. They had the PA take me to the hospital. I was in there for probably 4 hours, maybe. It's a long wait. But when they brought me in, it was a waiting room full of people. And I still got on the prosthetic and all the makeup that I left set with.
That is
So when they saw me, everybody was just sinking down in their chairs and they were staring, trying not to stare, but they were staring at me. And nobody said anything, but everybody had to, what the fuck happened to you look. So I go to the back and I'm waiting for the doctor, and he walks in the room, and the doctors they got to be professional. They can't really react, but I saw it in his eyes, like oh shit. When he walked in, I saw it and I felt it. So as soon as he said that, I say, listen, it's a prosthetic, it's makeup, and when I said that, he was like, Oh, okay. I didn't like. What do you what happened? So I had to like listen. I'm an actor. I was on set. This is what we were doing, and so when they peeled everything back, I had a small little knot. I was concussed. Told me to go home. Fuck that. I went right back to set, finished out that scene, and then went home and was done for the day.
Thank you for that story. Wow,
Yeah,
man. I'm
yeah,
gonna
yeah,
go
yeah.
rewatch that
Yeah.
movie.
It's
So
like,
and
what
I think
the
they catch it.
hell?
I think they catch it. Then they cut away. But I think that last blow, he actually hit me and
Wow.
hard. I'm so glad he didn't hit me in my mouth because I'd have lost a couple teeth.
Damn.
Yeah, they said that stuff really happened. They said that Cameron really had hit that dude on paid in full. That's why he's
Yeah,
bleeding like that.
yeah. I heard
Wow.
that too. Like it happens, but man, we professionals, so if we can, we try to stay in character and get through that scene because sometimes, man, them be the best takes.
Yeah. Like, do
Yeah.
you ever get nervous when you're doing those scenes? Like, cause you see what
Right. That's a
happened
good
with
question.
that. Like, damn, what's his name? It was that white dude. His last name Baldwin.
The ball when he killed the guy on set.
Yeah,
Um,
he's
I
supposed to
don't
be
get
shooting blanks.
Yeah, I don't get nervous, but we do when we are dealing with props because obviously, you've seen me with a million guns on set. We have a person that comes in and can I get quiet on set? Everybody gather around and hey, this is this kind of gun. It's not real, or it is real, but it's not loaded. There's nothing in the chamber. Like they go through, and we have a very in depth breakdown of the prop that we're going to be using, so that everybody's comfortable and everybody sees with their own two eyes that nothing is in the chamber, nothing's in the clip, and we're gonna do this. And then once it's done, you give it back to me. Goes from my hand to yours, from your hands to mine. Nobody else pick it up. Don't set it down because when you have it in your possession, you're responsible for it until we're done, and then you give it back. And since that Baldwin incident, we've gotten really strict and thorough on set when dealing with prop guns because we don't ever want anything like that to happen to anybody else. It was unfortunate that it happened with Alec Baldwin and a few other stars too, but
Yeah, that was
I think
messed
that was the
up.
most recent one. And I don't ever want to be on the receiving or giving end of a gunshot or actually accidentally shooting somebody. So
I'm
we
trying to
very,
figure
very
out how
thorough.
a real bullet got in that gun.
I said the same thing. So I don't know, and I don't want to put no theories out there, but I wondered the same thing.
Well, it didn't magically appear. I don't have to put no.
Yeah,
it ain't
like
just.
Brandon Lee,
It ain't
Bruce Lee
show.
story
It
died the
ain't
same
show
way.
up out of nowhere. Like it's like, come on now. Like they gotta be joking. I
Yeah.
don't. You know what I'm saying? Like that. That didn't
Hmm.
just appear nowhere. It ain't like poof. It was there. Somebody. Whatever. But anyways, I'm just gonna let it play. But no, I appreciate your response. It's kind of very interesting to hear your thoughts about like just the parts that you played. But I guarantee you, like, and maybe I'll say it like this: it probably made you play that part even better being hit. Like, is that true?
No, because once he